If you told me in like 2016 that watching a kids cartoon would lead me down a pipeline to researching the war crimes committed within said kids cartoon, I probably would have believed you, because that's really on brand for me. So on this note, today we're going to talk about war crimes within Precure, and by extension which characters in Precure could have the capacity to be war criminals, because I think that makes it funnier. Before I get into it, my makeup today is all from Bone Idol. I'm using these palettes, and you can use my code oddish10 to get 20% off literally any order of any size and any cost. So the most logical way to go through this video is to start with Futariwa and work my way through to Hirogaru Sky. So in Futariwa, we have a lot of war crimes. I'm going off what Google claims is a war crime. So on that note, weather manipulation is a war crime. Like, obviously, realistically, the definition would be like, I don't understand how you manipulate the weather in real life, because I have Precure autism, not science autism. But Cure Black has lightning powers, so I mean, in a way, she could manipulate the weather. So kind of, she's a war criminal. Obviously, most of the war criminals in Precure are the villains, and in Futariwa there is our good old friend Pissard. He brainwashes people and he takes hostages, apparently. I have relied so heavily on the good people of Twitter and the Precure Wikipedia to inform me on what war crimes have been committed, because I have seen all 20 seasons, and that's like thousands of episodes, and I cannot remember every single detail of every episode. Yeki Drago, I don't even remember him, but apparently he targets civilians and he takes hostages. Poisony, I can't remember her, she brainwashes people, war crime. Yeah, I don't think I properly explained at the start. The war crimes I'm sort of going off are like mind control and manipulation, weather manipulation, any kind of like destruction and unlawful targeting of civilians, destruction of civilizations, and cultural, historical sites and landmarks. There's probably more, and then I'll go like, oh yeah, as I keep reading my long list of Precure war crimes. Juna, again, Futariwa just wasn't memorable for me. I don't know who these people are, I'm just going off what Google says. Is another weather manipulator. I didn't take down any notes on that one. Regine, forgettable, I don't know who that was. Fire powers. Yeah, but so when I was like looking up on war crimes, apparently like there's something about setting forest fires to cover up an objective and stuff like that. So anyone with fire powers, I'm instantly saying, oh yeah, well they could do that, so I'm classing them under this. Belze Gertrude, that's such a stupid name, and I can't remember who that is. And he has lightning powers again, so that's another weather manipulator. A lot of the war crimes I've picked up on are weather manipulation, unfortunately. There are some like real crazy ones as the series goes on, but it's nice and it's chill. It's just a little bit of mind control, a little bit of weather for the time being. The Evil King, apparently he destructs a civilization. I assume that has something to do with like the garden of whatever pee-pee poo-poo it is that they do in Futariwa. I think that list kind of may have included Max Hart. I've not really, in true T fashion, I've not made my notes very clear. But apparently I'm now on to Splash Star, Cure Egret. She has wind powers, so she is a big old weather manipulator. Akudaiken, I vaguely remember he has thunder lightning powers. So this is a series of weather manipulators. We have another villain, Karihan. He manipulates trees and dead leaves, which is not super exciting, but it's kind of still technically weather manipulation. So I'm going to say he's a war criminal. Muerimba, I cannot pronounce any of these villain names. Why did they have such names back in the day? She, I don't remember who that is. They have fire powers. So again, they're a fire criminal. Doron has earth powers, which I think I'm kind of on the fence about, is this a war crime or not? But for the sake of this video, I'm gonna go, yeah, that's a war crime. With earth powers, you can, I guess, kind of manipulate the weather. You could easily destroy civilization if you so desired with an earthquake. Sweet Kaoru has wind powers because obviously she is also Cure Windy, Cure Breeze, whatever they call them in that one. She probably definitely almost... Oh, was there not that one episode where the Kuryu sisters disguised themselves as Saki and Mai, and they like caused each other to fall out at one point, right? I'm sure that happened. Anyway, it's not war, but I'm calling it a war crime. Yes, Precure 5 and GoGo. Cure Rouge and Cure Mint and Cure Aqua, obviously, all have some kind of elemental powers, so right up there, they are war criminals. Milky Rose. This is an insane one that I got from Twitter, and I asked for them to elaborate on this, and then they just never got back to me. If anyone wants to explain this to me in the comments, that's fantastic. Her attack violates Section 1 of some kind of Geneva Convention law. I don't, the Metal Blizzard, I don't know anything about this or why. I assume it's something to do with mass destruction, but looking at Milky Rose and going, yeah, this thing is a war criminal is so unbelievably funny to me. Not many of the villains in Yes 5 and GoGo are actually war criminals, surprisingly. There's Kawarino, who destroys the Palmia Kingdom. He enslaves the Precures and Milk and a few of the Palmia citizens, so he is a big old nasty war criminal. There's also the boss in Yes Precure 5 GoGo. He destroys the Cure Rose Garden, and I'm pretty sure he destroys the Earth itself in the finale episode or something. So we've got 2 villains who are war criminals in that season, which is a nice low number for the notes that I've got. Fresh Precure, again, has a really low number of war criminals, actually. There's Northa. She takes Chiffon hostage, if I am remembering correctly. And then Big Bad Mobius. He is a nefarious war criminal. The notes I've got down here are torture, inhuman treatment, mind control, and implied enslavement. Because I haven't watched Fresh in a hot minute, but I'm pretty sure he had like enslaved all the residents of the Labyrinth Kingdom planet, whatever the hell it was. Heartcatch Precure. There are some pretty wild war crimes in this one. And 2 of the cures in this series are actually war criminals, intentionally and not in like a weather manipulation kind of way. There is an episode where Cure Marine and Cure Sunshine and one of the fairies disguise themselves as snackies in order to like get into the enemy base or something. Again, Heartcatch is one I don't remember very well. It was something that I kind of dipped in and out of paying attention to because it kind of just went through highs and lows. But someone on Twitter reminded me that this happened. I was like, oh yeah. So yeah, disguising yourself as an enemy, as I said earlier, is a war crime, and it's definitely more of a war crime in this sense than it was in the Splash Star sense, because they were actually breaking into an enemy's base on like war terms. There's Dune, the big bad guy. He literally destroys the whole world in the final episodes, and he brainwashes people. So I don't know, that seems like a war crime to me. Yuri's dad, I was on the fence about this one, but I want to say he has committed the war crime of biological experimentation, because he created Dark Precure by using like DNA or something from Yuri, and that's a war crime. There's no like set definition of what biological experimentation was when I was researching into this, so I'm gonna go, yeah, you know, cloning your daughter to make her an evil clone, probably a war crime. All of the commander type people from the Desert Apostles, so Kumajaki, Sasarina, Kubraja, they all target civilians. Every single episode they are targeting a civilian. That is a big old war crime, and I don't know if this would count or not, but it's worth noting that there was that one episode where one of them turned the literal entire school into a monster, and that's kind of again targeting civilians, and I want to say it's like unfair desecration of like public property. Sweet Precure. There is not that many war crimes in the season, hooray! There is Siren, the funny cat. She targets civilians with her negatones. Mephisto, I'm on the fence again about calling him a war criminal, because I understand that he was under mind control like the whole time he was a villain. But, you know, on the other hand, he did do these things. So he kind of is a war criminal, like brainwashed or not. He himself has brainwashed people, he has enslaved people, and he apparently destroys / damages a cultural landmark. I don't properly remember this. I feel like there was an episode they were fighting him and he did some damage to like the big clock tower or something in town. But again, I haven't watched Sweet in a hot minute. And Noise, he is the most nefarious war criminal of all. He is a brainwasher. He brainwashed Mephisto into doing his will. He enslaved all of those people, like Mephisto and the minor trio, or whatever they were called, like, you know, the baritones. And I don't remember why I said this, but I forgot he's desecration of the dead. I don't know if this has something to do with him absorbing the 3 baritones at some point. I think I have to rewatch Sweet, because what was I cooking here? Smile, again, we've got cures with weather manipulation powers. We've got Cure Peace and Cure Beauty, who respectively have lightning and ice powers. So they could commit war crimes if they so desired. Cure Sunny has fire powers. Again, you know, she wouldn't, but she could. All of the bad guys in this season have targeted civilians. Obviously due to the nature of the way the bad energy works, and it targets the hapless people wandering around and takes all their energy away. So there's not an innocent villain in this season. Additionally, in episode 42, that one with Nao and her family, Majorika takes away the kids. So I'm pretty sure that like there is a separate war crime that's something to do with targeting kids or something. But yeah, and she also kind of took the kids hostage, so hostages, targeting kids, it's not looking good for her. She is possibly the worst war criminal in this season. She also turned the school into a whole monster again in that one episode with the ghosts. So the other two are like kind of sweet angels compared to her. Joker, I hate this guy with all of my heart, and he is like not even really the most nefarious criminal in the show. He's just creepy and horrible. He took Candy hostage in the Wish Festival episode. I can't really think of anything else awful that he's done other than just generally being really gross and creepy. Piero, he is a mass destructor. He literally, remember how he like destroyed all of the earth and like tried to kill everyone in the last episodes? That was whack. And I've got him down for desecration of the dead. This is a crime I cannot wrap my head around, and in order to make it work in something like Precure, it would have to be sort of like the big bad guy absorbing one of their like lackeys to become more powerful ever. So like Joker melts away into like this little puddle, and the King Piero monster thing just goes nom, 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 and gobbles him up to destroy the world. So that's kind of, you know, Joker's dead, he's just a pile of goop, so I would say that's pretty desecration. DokiDoki Precure, this is like war crimes of a show from what I remember. Regina, sweet Regina, she holds hostages at some point, and she also targets a civilian stroke child. From what I remember, it's that train episode, and there's people in the train when she turns it into a sailfish or whatever they're called, and then the kid who's crying, he wants to drive the train, gets turned into like the monster of the week or something. That's just what I remember anyway. Joe, this funny weird guy with the weird hat, is a war criminal. He has enlisted children. That's one I forgot to go over in the beginning. Enlisting children is a war crime. So depending on how you look at it, like, are the fairies all war criminals? You decide. Ira, the little kid, he has targeted civilians. Most of the evil dudes from this series have targeted civilians because, again, it's one of those series where the bad guys operate by taking like negative energy from innocent people on the street and feeding off that. So to save me rambling on, let's just say all of the bad guys in this season are guilty of that. There was one episode where Belle disguised himself as Joe, so I'm gonna put him under disguising as an opponent. King Selfish, I don't know if that's actually his name or if I dreamt that up. He has enslaved people and mind controlled them. I don't remember how. Oh yeah, it was when he brainwashed Regina into being on their side again. Enslavement, is this the Regina thing or was this something separate? I don't remember. Happiness charge. This is a pretty crazy one for war crimes. Again, there's Blue. Boo. No one likes him. He's a war criminal because he has enlisted many children to fight for whatever his cause is. Red has brainwashed many people, including poor little Seiji. He has targeted children. The Precure Hunter, I don't know if this is a war crime, but he has taken many a prisoner of war. So I'm going to label him a war criminal. Again, the commander trio from the series have all targeted civilians because I think this is one of those ones where it is people who become the bad things. But maybe I'm just completely wrong and they have just targeted people on several occasions. Who knows? And environmental damage is also like a big war crime, and they kind of do like the bad zone. Like, I'm gonna count that as environmental damage, like how Moldy Man Namakelda makes everything moldy and Hoshiwa makes everything sweet. That's I'm being really generous with what's a war crime here. So if you do something even slightly out of line, bang, war criminal prison. We've got a few in Go Princess. Cure Mermaid, water powers, so you know the deal with that already. Environmental manipulation. This, I know for sure, was one of those seasons that relied on the villains targeting civilians because they would lock them in the cages and take away their dreams and stuff. So every single villain in this show is guilty of targeting a civilian, which is awesome. That makes my list really easy to get through. KiraKira Precure a la mode. Yes, I've just skipped Maho Girls, Maho Sukai, whatever you guys like to call it, because I could not find a single war crime in that series. It's a series I don't remember very well at all. I spoke about this before, it's just not memorable to me. It all kind of mushed into one. There's probably war crimes in it, and you guys are welcome to go search them out and yell at me for forgetting them, but I cannot think of any off the top of my head, and there's just so much to that series. I did not want to go digging through all of the individual villains and episodes to try and find something. So we're on to KiraKira. Noir obviously brainwashes people in a way. Well, it's not straight up brainwashing, it's manipulation. He's a manipulative dude and he takes advantage of people who are in a state of depression or despair or whatever. So yeah, he also destroys civilization. Those Kirakuru thieves at the start of the series destroy Strawberry Mountain where all the little fairies live. So they are war criminals. I did not mean to include movies in this because there's so many movies that would just make my list go on for ages, and I've been talking for 20 minutes already. But I couldn't really ignore that in the KiraKira movie there is the movie villain Cook, who enslaves people and apparently treats them inhumanely, whatever I meant by that. Back in the series there is Jean-Pierre. Now I think that this is actually probably from the movie. He damages culturally significant property. I think in the movie there's something to do with him beefing with the Eiffel Tower, but I watched the movie a few years ago, so I couldn't quite tell you. Picario has targeted civilians from what I remember. When he is bad guy mode, he has beef with anyone who is happy and just having a little scran. That happens a lot. And then there's Grave. He is a brainwasher. I think that could be everyone in KiraKira, but I'm dumb and I didn't research this as intensely as I could have because that would have taken weeks. So let's move on to Hugtto and forget any of that. Hugtto is a series where all of the bad guys target civilians, apparently. Specifically, Ruru, Daigen, Listo, Jealous, how do you pronounce that name? Dr. Traum, Bishin, Papel and Charalit. I don't know if this is all of them or if it's just specifically them who targeted the civilians, but I did not put a lot of detail into these notes because I spent hours on this. Twinkle. This is a very war crime light season, but it covers the heavy war crimes, so it kind of balances out. Cure Milky, it's the obligatory lightning powers, weather control sort of thing. Bang, alien war criminal. Capard targets civilians. There is a lot of war crimes going on with that guy that I won't go into. Ayuan, this little creature, I love her so much. She is the most heinous war criminal this season. She destroys Uni's home planet, which obviously is a destruction of civilization. And then there is also targeting civilians again, obviously with her pew-pew things. I can't remember what the bad guys from Star Twinkle are called, I'm such a fake fan. Tenjo, funny nose lady, she enlists children, apparently. There was a clip I was shown of her, like, turning some... It's the episode with Elena's siblings. She turns him into one of those wah-wah things. You know, the little minions? So that's kind of a targeting child, enlisting a child, brainwashing kind of deal. Healin Precure, War Crimes, the series, because this is a season about a group of villains with the intent to create widespread long-term damage to the environment. So the series kind of revolves around the bad guys rocking up and then being like, hey, I'm polluting your planet. And really the only thing outside of that I would class as a war crime from the villains is the episode where it's revealed that Derusian has been like leeching off of Cure Grace and making her sick and stuff. I'm gonna say that is biological warfare. This guy sucks. I can't stand him. I'll never forgive them for calling him a chatty friend. Fontaine and Earth are the two obligatory war criminal weather manipulators this series. Not much to say otherwise, but you know, the environmental thing is like kind of a real heavy war crime. So I'm glad there's not much more to think about in that one. Tropical-Rouge Precure. This is a crazy series. The Mermaid Kingdom, specifically the Queen and Laura, kind of enlist children because Laura is sent out by the Queen with the cure packs to go enlist the Precures. And obviously the thing with Precure fairies and the thing with becoming a Precure is, do they decide, yeah, I want to be a Precure, or is it more like a trick of fate? The Healing Good fairies are on the fence of being war criminals for the same reason, because they're sent to seek out partners, but are they choosing the partners like of their own free will, or is it like a destiny thing? I don't know whether to call them war criminals or not. I will call them war criminals because these little creatures being war criminals, take a shot every time I say war criminals. It's just hilarious. Back to the Tropical-Rouge, the mermaids, yeah, they're on the fence. Butler, this funny little seahorse man, is a criminal. He mind controls, targets civilians, and I'm making the assumption that Butler is the one who picked the villains to be like, you know, the little crabby family. I'm gonna assume it's him who was in control of enlisting them and telling them what to do. So he's kind of enlisted a child because Eld is obviously among the villains. Chongre, Numeri, and Eld, they all target civilians because, again, this is a series that relies on collecting energy from people to power up the bad guys. Delicious Party. Pain. I struggled with this one because I feel like this series was so badly handled, it was kind of difficult to pick out what actually was a war crime. Stinky looking green guy, Narc, he erases people's memories of food. And that sounds like such a stupid, like, villain motivation thing when I say it like that. But that's the series, it's stupid. But kind of falls under mind control. The same with Secretoru, she erases food from existence as well. So, like, kind of in extension, this could be used to starve civilians. Yeah, that's a war crime. Depriving people of their food sources and starving them intentionally. Which leads us on to Godats, the big bad of the series. When he like does his like dream face reveal thing, he is like, yeah, I am gonna take away all the world's food and I'm not gonna give you food unless you like work for me. So he is a food starver criminal. That's all I understand was a war crime. No, Rosemary is enlisting the children, of course. Yeah, war criminal, why not? Gay, non-binary war criminal, diversity win. Caboton in Hirogaru Sky, he takes away L in like the first episode. I'm gonna class that as taking a hostage. There's also an episode where he takes control of a train full of civilians. That's kind of a tie between hostages and targeting civilians. So in either light, that horrible pig is a war criminal. Batamonda, I actually like him quite a bit now. He is a nutter. He targets civilians and he takes abuse of a prisoner of war. Remember the episode where he like uses Shalala and like tries to destroy the city, and like that was nuts. The only other one I could really pick out so far this series is Skiahead. He takes hostages. I'm just going off the episode where he takes Elle away. That's kind of like a hostage situation, I guess. And that is Precure War Crimes. Literally like an hour before I started filming this video, the first episode of Hugtto Precure aired, and I am told that whatever was going on with the villains in this episode falls under a war crime, but I haven't seen the episode yet, and I don't really want to just go spoiling it the day it airs. So I look forward to finding out what this war crime is. War crimes don't feel real anymore. I thought about them too much. I have some cool and exciting Precure videos coming up, hopefully, and obviously, hopefully they are less unhinged than whatever this just was. So Precure fans, please subscribe to me and follow my Precure nonsense. I also have the Precure Awards coming up soon. That's going to be super exciting. I've been collecting a lot of data and votes for that for a good solid few months. I just really want to do something big with the community to celebrate the anniversary, so I think this is going to be a real exciting way to do so. I hope people will get involved with that and enjoy it when I finally release it in probably December. Until next time I think of some Precure nonsense to talk about, farewell, oddish friends.